Greetings expeditioners, FiOth here, and in this video guide I will be breaking down the growth systems found in Expedition 33. These will not focus on combat, those mechanics will be referenced in another vid. For now, what we're gonna do is break down every single aspect of the leveling process, not just for the XP portion, which is pretty much self-explanatory, but mainly for your pictos and your luminas, your weapon upgrades, and what specific items that you've been carrying around are actually for. I know there are a couple of them already in your inventory, and if you're starting today or you have very few hours into the game, you will be wondering what the hell they're for. I'm here to answer all these questions, so without further ado, let's get to it. I'm here in camp. You will have access to camp pretty early in the game. You will get a prompt to go to camp. You cannot dodge that prompt, you'll have to use it, and once you are here, you will be able to do very few things. Playing music right there in the gramophone is one of them. But later on, there will be an NPC here that I'm gonna show the location of, and I'm gonna explain what his job is. So this is a curator. I'm not gonna explain anything to avoid any spoilers, and he is here to make use of two of the items you have been carrying around, them being Chroma Catalyst, or the polished version if you're about 10 hours in, and the color of Lumina. Now, what do these two things do? Because if you go into your inventory, you'll find it under tints, but there is nothing you can do with them until you visit this NPC later on, and here's what they're used for. When you talk to this guy, he has two choices here for you: upgrade weapons and upgrade expedition resources. Now, the catalysts you've been finding saying that they can be used to upgrade weapons will actually be able to be utilized by this curator character. You will have all your characters here with their weapons, and you click on a weapon, hold the upgrade prompt, and you will upgrade your weapon. The normal ones will get you up to +3, the polished up to +9, and then you have to find better materials to keep going. You need this NPC pretty much to upgrade your stuff. Your weapons will incrementally gain levels just by being carried by the party. When you encounter specific enemies, mostly stronger foes, and you defeat them, you will sometimes see that something upgraded without you expending any materials. This is a very good mechanic in the game to help you keep stuff that you might want to use relevant without having to expand materials all the time. For the min-maxing, you go to the curator and you use the Chroma Catalyst to upgrade the weapon of choice. This is one of his services. The other one is upgrade exposition resources, and this is tied to two things. First is upgrade Lumina. And the color of Lumina that you see up there is your assortment of color of Lumina that you can invest to increase the amount of Lumina slots that the character can utilize. In case you've not been paying attention, here's what Lumina slots are. So here I'm taking my boy Gustav. I'm pretty sure he was modeled after Mr. Patterson, the actor. And here we have our pictos. You can see I have a large assortment up to this point. And down there on the right, you see the luminas. How does this system work? You can equip up to 3 pictos on a character at any given moment. And once you win 4 fights, the golden square symbol around them will light up 1 increment at a time. Once that is done, that pictos is learned by the entire party. Not just the character who had it equipped, the entire crew has access to the learned pictos. And what you do with that then? You go into the luminous menu and you have a capacity. You see down there that my available lumina points is 1. If I reset, I have 32 points to spend in between all of these lumina. Pretty much the pictos as a learned ability is called a lumina. That's all. It's just a rebranding of the item, nothing more to it. Then you spend this capacity to have activated specific luminas on your character without having to have them equipped as pictos. If you want to save some space, or you want to make different builds with its character, which is highly recommended of course, you can have some equipped as pictos even after you've learned them, and the rest as luminas according to how much lumina capacity you have, to put it simply. So here's where the color of Lumina comes in. You invest some of these resources, some of these gatherable materials onto characters and you increase their capacity. The game specifically states that there is no cap to this. You can go balls to the wall with this mechanic and create monstrosities of characters as long as you keep farming Colors of Lumina. This is pretty awesome. The second thing that you have possibly been missing is these 3 items down here, the tints. And the tints are very important because their usage is never explicitly explained, but they are actually the only items in the game that can be expanded during combat. When you're in general traversal, you can access your character screen and you will see them at the bottom right. The chroma elixirs are your heals during traversal. They will be replenished at every flag. And at the bottom right, you see the health, energy, and revival tints. They will also be replenished like you're visiting a bonfire in a Souls-like game. And they are the consumables you can use in combat. Just these 3 things and nothing else. So if you've been wondering how the hell am I healing during combat, how the hell am I recovering my energy during combat, and you went in there and instead of finding health potion times 94 like in every other JRPG, in this case they're replenishable at the flag and you cannot run out of them as long as you visit the checkpoint. So to make them more useful, you visit the curator as long as you have a shape of health, shape of energy, or shape of life in your inventory, which you can of course find in the overworld. You click on the tint and you upgrade it. As the game states, when it's time for upgrades, you can upgrade any one of these tints only twice. So it goes from small to normal and then to a more empowered version, and that is it. 3 upgrades and you have your tints maxed out. You will incrementally find these things, they're not everywhere, but as soon as you find one, visit the camp and you can apply it and make your tint stronger. Note here, the camp can only be visited when you are exploring the overworld, that is the map, and not a dungeon. Just making this clarification because many of you are probably confused about that as well. Now, one thing that I would probably recommend you do here with the Pictos and the Luminas is pay attention to what's expensive and what is not when it comes to Lumina points. For example, here I have augmented attack that says 50% increased base attack damage. I have it equipped as a Pictos. Why is that? If I go into the Luminas menu and go to augmented attack, it has a cost for equipping it of 7, which is a lot. Then I go into my Pictos again and I find attack lifesteal down here. This is a level 4 Pictos and allows lifesteal on every normal attack. Its cost is 15. So my idea here for you to create builds is as follows. Start by equipping Pictos and not Luminas. Start by equipping the Pictos because if you equip the Pictos first and you know what goes where according to how expensive they are, you can then optimize the Luminas. Your caster, let's say Luna, does not need to have as strong a base attack as, let's say, Gustav. So put the expensive base attack ones on Gustav, the ones that help with AP on Luna, and then you mix and match the Luminas to optimize even further. Do not waste what would benefit a character that is more physically inclined on someone who is more elementally inclined. Of course, this is a pretty open system. If you go to a flag and click upgrade attributes, you can dictate the overall prowess of your characters according to where you place their attributes. And as long as you have a recode, you can see the item down here on the right, you can reset attributes and redistribute everything here to make it as you will. Now, when it comes to these little icons on the letters here, they're pretty much tied to 2 factors. Might will always increase your offensive capability, no matter if you use physical attacks or spells. The other 2 icons for might that will have a letter next to them is the scaler of your weapon. And this is 100% Souls-like mechanics, because if you go into your inventory, let's pick Gustav again, we'll go to his weapon, Lance Ram, and as you can see, vitality scaling for this is B and agility is C, and below the letter you can see the amount of actual damage you get from these scalers. So focusing these attributes will bring the damage of the weapon even further. For 20 hours in approximately, this is not super important because you don't have that many points to spare. But in this game, you can go up to level 99, so imagine how many points you'll have to distribute there and what kind of a difference that will make when it comes to the scaling in weapons. Of course, when we go higher in levels, you can then reallocate the attributes to optimize the damage output. Again, on the flag, you can learn skills. Characters will learn skills from their skill trees that do various things, and then as soon as you have a skill, you can assign it in one of the 6 skill slots. If you do not slot a skill, you might as well not have it. The character will not be able to use it in combat. So you'll have to actually create a strategy of characters working together to get specific effects out of the combination of their skills to have the best possible results. This is far more complicated than playing your average JRPG where you click attack or use magic or increase the priority of a character by having them move first in a turn. You have to create synergies, because if you don't create these synergies, enemies will be very difficult to take down, especially on Expert. I've been playing on Expert to have all my bases covered when it comes to knowledge of the game, so I can relate to you, and you definitely want to create synergetic effects to maximize your damage and survivability. Last but not least, it goes without saying that when you click this button here, rest, the world resets, meaning the enemies will come back, but you get all your elixirs back and your characters fill their health pools 100%. There is no other consumable to worry about in this game. There is no mana pool. You cannot run out of AP forever. They refresh with every battle. So the only thing you have to look out for is how much health you have when you enter combat and how many tints you have. As long as you have enough of these, you can survive encounters as long as you know how to play. Now, for a deeper dive into the combat system, we'll revisit Expedition 33 in the near future, so subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection, peeps. Cheers!